I told Tobe Hooper this
Oh.
when we were working together. I was like, so this is not bullshit. This is a real thing that happened. When the clown doll jumped up and grabbed Robbie from that whole setup of where is the clown doll? Is it down here? Is it over there? And then it's behind him. I literally jumped into my father's lap.
Oh, I bet he loved it.
And that's one of those things where you hear that and it's like, that's an exaggeration. That didn't really happen. Like, nope, actually did.
Oh.
And that was Poltergeist was famously PG when it came out. When you look at it now and it's like,
no, I just watched it. Yeah. It's
you know, and it's so Tobe, and it's you know, Tobe doesn't pull punches. You know, when Tobe wants to get scary, forget it, you're in trouble. And he did Salem's Lot for TV. The show, by the way. Yeah.
Can I just ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Because on my last episode, we did, or 2 episodes ago, I did Poltergeist, and there's always that rumor that it's more of a Spielberg film than a Tobe Hooper.
Sure.
Do you have any insight on that?
I do.
Can you give me a hint without going on too long? Just a hint, because
yes.
I know we want to.
Look, I Tobe Hooper directed Poltergeist. That is the actual answer to the question. And so anybody that's Monday morning quarterbacking it because they know they weren't there, they don't know how movies are made, and they certainly didn't know Tobe Hooper and actually talked to him about it, which I did. So
that's why I ask you.
Yeah, no. So this is a real hot button topic for me. It's really, and those of us that I am good friends with Mick Garris. I know Carolyn Williams, who was in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Whenever somebody gets online with the whole well, we all know that Stephen really directed it. It's like, okay, first of all, fuck you. Second of all, you don't know, you weren't there. Third of all, Tobe Hooper directed Poltergeist.
I did discuss that rumor on my show. I'm sorry, but I didn't know. I knew I didn't know.
No, it's okay. Look, that's the thing.
Okay.
Look, this is something that, it's going to outlive all of us. It will perpetually be there. I'm sure. I feel like there has been kind of a shift, thankfully, since his death, that it's like, okay, well, because I think that there has been much more clarity about what Poltergeist was as a project and, how it was made and what the conditions were. And that not every time. So you got to understand when in Hollywood, when you're making a movie, kid, let me tell you about it. When sometimes a director is someone that is working for a very overbearing producer, sometimes they're working for a very overbearing studio. Sometimes they are not necessarily the guiding force of the movie. That doesn't mean that they didn't direct the movie.
Gotcha.
But it means that a lot of times there are highly influential forces involved. Now, Steven Spielberg, not only the weird thing about Poltergeist is that Tobe actually came up with the idea for Poltergeist, and he's not credited.
No, I didn't know that. I thought it was Spielberg. I thought it was all his.
So Spielberg wanted to do a haunted house movie, and in fact, he wanted it to be a collaboration with Stephen King, which they had. You may have noticed there isn't a whole lot of Stephen King, Steven Spielberg stuff.
No.
They, because of kind of the movie that became Poltergeist, the project, they had like a weird, I don't know if it was a meeting or a lack of a meeting, but something went horribly wrong between Steven Spielberg and Stephen King when they initially tried to get together to talk about doing this haunted house project that Spielberg wanted to collaborate over. And they really have not, there are a couple of Spielberg produced Stephen King things, but Spielberg has never done his own Stephen King adaptation. And they had this weird falling out. But I think that Spielberg initially approached Tobe about directing a movie called Night Skies. Night Skies, which also never got made. John Sayles wrote the screenplay. It was the sequel to Close Encounters. And it was a horror scenario. It was very much like Signs. Take critters and signs and kind of mash them together, and then
I want to see that.
Yeah, and then in the last scene of the movie, it was basically about a farmhouse, a family in a farmhouse that gets attacked by scary aliens, and it was based on a true incident, but very highly fictionalized. And there was one of the, I think the son in the family. We did a reading of this at one of the Yorkie-thons for Dave Parker, who's also the world's second biggest Creepshow fan. I think he's actually the biggest Creepshow fan, but he's a huge Creepshow fan. But he directs these script reads that we do for Yorkie-thon for Joe Lynch and Adam Green every year. It's a Christmas time charity event that they do where they try to stay up and they do commentaries and they do interviews and they do wacky things. But we would do these script reads every year, and they're very popular. I love doing them. I am honored and you know, that I get to do them every year. But we did Night Skies really early on. And Night Skies ends with, there's a good alien. There's a bunch of bad aliens. They're basically like gremlins. Bad aliens, scary aliens doing scary alien stuff. But there's a good one. And the good one befriends the little boy in the family.
Like E.T. and Mogwai, like the you know, what's his name?
So,
Mogwai and Gremlins.
The last scene in John Sayles' screenplay for Night Skies is a garbage truck going by, and you can't hear me.
I thought that was a spaceship.
Is the alien ship leaves without the friendly alien.
No, that's kind of cool.
And that, for Spielberg, was like, wait a minute. That's where I'm going to start the movie. So he approached Tobe to do Night Skies. Tobe wasn't actually interested in doing Night Skies. Tobe felt like the sci-fi stuff was more Spielberg's thing. He wanted to do something scarier.
Mm-hmm.
And he had taken over Robert Wise's office at, I think, Universal.
Okay.
And Robert Wise had left some books behind that were research items from some of his projects. And he had a book that he left behind when he was working on The Haunting, which was called, I shit you not, Poltergeist.
Oh.
And it was a book, it was a nonfiction book about paranormal investigations and real life cases and things like that. So Tobe really wanted to make a ghost movie, but he really wanted to make the ghost movie. And he wanted paranormal investigators to come in, and he wanted it to be like really over the top and really scary and not the kind of, you know, at that point you had very suggestive ghost stuff. You didn't have like in your face, you know, Tobe Hooper level ghost movies.
Yeah.
So he got Steven on board, and then Spielberg basically kind of ran with it and was like, I got it. And so Spielberg wrote the story. They hired writers to write it. Spielberg then rewrote those writers himself with Toby's input, with Frank Marshall and Kathleen Kennedy's input. Marshall and Kennedy were producers on it, and made the movie while Spielberg was prepping E.T. Now, whether or not Spielberg wanted to direct it, whether or not, you know, it was something that he was overbearing because of that, because he didn't have faith in Tobe. If he didn't have faith in Tobe, he wouldn't have worked with him again, which he did more than once. Tobe directed an episode of Amazing Stories, and Tobe did the pilot episode of a alien abduction TV show for the Syfy Channel called Taken.
Okay.
So again, like if Tobe was a complete flake that couldn't handle what, and this is all the rumors, you know,
and vice versa. If he didn't feel good about Spielberg, he probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, exactly. They were always friends. I talked to Tobe about it, and he's like, no, we talk all the time. Like we're buddies.
Okay.
It's not, you know. So there was all the rumors like, oh, Tobe couldn't handle it. Tobe was in over his head. Spielberg was not someone that was used to handing off a project to another director. It was the first time he really done that. He went on to do it many, many times. He did it with Gremlins. He did it with Back to the Future. He did it, you know, other movies, which were never, you know, kind of branded with this whole like, oh, Spielberg really directed it. But Spielberg was there all the time. And now, so you're Tobe Hooper. You're still kind of the new guy in Hollywood, right? Mm-hmm. You've got the guy that made Jaws and Raiders of the Lost Ark sitting behind you, basically saying like, well, you know, let's, you know, and he would jump in from time to time and he would be overbearing, and there are different, you know, Beatrice Straight, evidently, who plays Dr. Lesh, Dr. Martha Lesh in the movie
with the big glasses.
She apparently her first day was the dining room table scene where the coffee thing moves across the table. The determination as to whether your home is haunted is not an easy one. What I meant to say was, on that day, she was getting direction from both of them. And so they did a couple of takes of things and they were working on stuff and it kept happening. And she finally said, and Martin Casella, who plays Marty, who plays the guy that rips his face off.
Yes.
He told, I'm Facebook friends with him. He's doubled down. He's like, nope, this actually happened. Beatrice Straight turned to them at one point and said, gentlemen, one of you is the director of this film. I am going to take notes from that man. But until one of you decides which one of you that is, I am not going to do anything else on this set.
Good for her.
And by that point, Spielberg backed off and Tobe was directing. But everyone that I've talked, Oliver Robbins, Craig T. Nelson, you talk to anybody, the only person that was really flaky about it was Zelda Rubinstein. But that whole thing, I mean, so it's got all of the Spielberg Amblin stuff.
Yes, it feels like a Spielberg movie.
Right, because it's a Spielberg production and he is kind of overbearingly involved. He is definitely...
The scares feel like Tobe Hooper to me.
Yep, that's the thing. The scary stuff feels like Tobe and the other stuff feels like Spielberg. It's a perfect fusion. I mean, I would almost, if you wanted to go as far as saying co-directed, I will allow that. But it is definitely a fusion. It is Tobe
threatened to fight
Steven Spielberg right here, kind of whispering in his ear or making suggestions or being heavily involved. And so, yeah, it's bullshit. He was involved the whole time. He directed that movie. And I'm glad that like I said, I feel like the tide is turning a little bit, but I think that as the years wear on and the rest of us die off, I think that it will just be one of those. Anecdotally, they'll be like, and Steven Spielberg actually directed the movie, and it's too bad and it sucks. But what that did reputation wise was it ruined basically Tobe's career. And it was a huge hit, huge success, but the rumors basically ruined what should have been his biggest success.
That's awful. And I didn't realize it truly affected him.
Yep. And it broke his heart and it ruined. So Poltergeist kind of ruined his career.
That's insane. And it was it was a huge hit.
Huge hit.
I don't know.
Yep.
And he's legendary.
Yep.
He has so many